Welcome to the Divorce This House program. I'm your instructor presenter, Wally Conway, here in Jacksonville, Florida with Home Pro Inspections. One might reasonably ask the question, how in the world does a home inspector in Jacksonville, Florida end up as an agent, real estate agent trainer in the Divorce This House program? And here's what happened. About a dozen years ago, I was at a mastermind group of other home inspectors running very successful companies from around the country. We're in Dallas, Texas. And two really nice ladies were among the presenters that came and spoke to us. And they were at that time, about a dozen years ago, the inventors and developers of the original Divorce This House program. It was a mother and daughter, both from Tennessee. One was a Harvard-educated lawyer. The other was a real estate agent and trainer. Between their personal experiences with divorce and their professional involvement with divorce from the attorney side and the real estate agent side, they came to the reality that when people were divorcing, they were often making really bad decisions as related to the house. It was tremendously emotional, and that tremendous emotion ended up doing great damage to them financially, both individually and as a now divorcing couple, their children and whatnot. So they developed the program that Divorce This House. It was originally intended to educate attorneys on how the house really played into the divorce role. Then it went to educating real estate agents and lenders and also home inspectors. There were very few home inspectors that embraced it. I was basically the only one in the country. And but it was doing very, very well. And over the years, Kelly and Wendy, the mother and daughter that founded the program, they would reach out to me and say, hey, Wally, let's work on this together, do another thing together. And in the fall of 2019, Wendy reached out and she said, Wally, I got a great way we can work together. It'll be fun for us. I was like, what is it? And she said, well, you have a fairly large audience between radio and television and presentations and other things you do. You teach the introduction. And then for those people who enjoyed the introduction, that saw value to their business, personally as well as professionally from the introduction, they would do the remaining pieces of the program. The program then can be completed as a 5 lunch and learns remotely, much like we are right now. So the little 2-hour blocks, 5 weeks in a row, complete the designation, or in a 3-day, essentially a Friday, Saturday, Sunday group event, which they do all around the country. All those details are at divorcethishouse.com. So that's how it came to be. So with that as a backdrop, let's move on with the show. All righty, the question becomes, what are we accomplishing today? What we're going to do together today is give you a tremendous overview of what this world looks like, this idea of being involved in real estate related to divorce. We're going to look at the size of the market. We're going to look at some of the questions into the market, and we're going to look at the marketing and business potential in the market so that you can make a decision. Is that a place that you think you would enjoy? Is it a place you think you would excel? And does it fit with the other pieces of your individual real estate model? So why would a real estate agent want to be involved? Because divorce is evergreen. I'm going to show you seasonally what it looks like, but no matter whether we're in a time of COVID-19, we're in an up market, we're in a down market, a good economy, a bad economy, whatever's going on in the universe, divorce occurs. So it is evergreen in that regard. We're going to look at the statistics pretty deep. We're going to look at it from a national sense, from a demographic sense, and even from a Jacksonville market sense. We've done a deep dive into that market. If you're not in the immediate Jacksonville market, trust me, every statistic I share with you is available in every market around the country. Then we're going to take a look at the lawyers and what is their role in this? How do we work with them? How do we not work with them? So that we're doing great business together, which is essential, but as or more importantly, we're really bringing value to the community. So why specialize in divorce? Now, I would never be an advocate in my company, your company, or anybody's company, that you stop whatever you're doing and we're going to run to the next bright, shiny object, which is called divorce real estate. I'm not suggesting that at all. What I'm suggesting is it's a deepening of the niche that you're already in, and it's a widening of the net around the niche that you're already in. Because no matter where you're presently working, what price range, what neighborhoods, what type of properties, there are people in those properties getting divorced, and there are more homes in your niche than you're presently capitalizing on. So this will help you expand your niche And then it will also attract people in other sub-niches that you may be interested in. Realtors, why would a real estate agent be involved? This is a fabulous point of differentiation. I have a conversation on a near daily basis, either with a real estate agent that we're already working with who's involved personally in divorce, or with a customer that the divorce precipitated what's going on. They are looking, they're searching, they don't even know where to begin to look for a person who understands what they're going through, and as or more importantly, has the expertise to get them through them. This house is the most emotional item in a divorce after the children. And what happens is, because it's so emotional, because it's about winning and losing, who gets the house, that usually both people lose. And here's the definition of victory as it relates to the Divorce This House program: that both individuals at the end of divorce have the eligibility to purchase a home. Now, one of them may essentially be purchasing the marital home and the other another home. But two people end up as homeowners at the end of the divorce. That is a success as it relates to the program. What happens presently is too many people have too much financial damage to them through the process of divorce, and they end up leaving the real estate, not the real estate business, but rather the ability to be in the real estate market for 3, 4, 5, and sometimes 7 or more years. Technology. Let's go back to the technology. Here's an interesting thing. We all know this, and now with COVID-19, we're seeing it even more, that people who are amazingly tech savvy and tech savvy companies are displacing the traditional real estate agent. People go into Zillow, go into Redfin, go into Trulia, go into these places to create a relationship with the technology, and then the technology is choosing the real estate. In the divorce universe, it is so intensely emotional that the people want an individual relationship with the agent. The problem is there are no agents that are readily identifiable, other than those involved with us at Divorce This House, who are seen as understanding professionals who can execute and guide them through this process of divorce as it relates to their real estate holdings. And lastly is the tax cuts. The recent tax cuts of 2017 have dramatically changed how the taxes view home ownership, the deductions. And why that is so important, that you have an understanding of that, and that you're there to assist the real estate attorney, the individuals involved in the divorce, and sometimes even the financial planner with high net worth people, is this. Because when someone's deciding on their budgeting and they viewed that home as a tax deductible asset, depending on the income position, depending on the mortgages and other positions, the standard deduction may exceed there being any deductible value to the home. And learning these nuances through the Divorce This House program is what puts you in a position so that the customer can take a breath and understand, yes, I can own a home at the other end of this divorce. It may be the marital home, it may be a different home, it may be 2 different homes, but that's what we're working on together. It's truly an underserved market. When we look at the demographics of real estate, specifically real estate agents, there is a sizable percentage who have been divorced, depending on the market in which sub-demographic we look at. It's between 30 and 70%. But here's the thing. Though having your own divorce is an experience, it's not necessarily the expertise you need to guide others through it. So your experience in an individual divorce would be anecdotal. Through the Divorce This House program, we're looking at divorce across the country. We're looking at divorce within Florida. We're looking at divorce within the market to give you the expertise you need to guide that person through this and to home ownership. Ultimately, the goal is this, that both individuals who are leaving the marriage do not leave the home ownership market. What happens traditionally is we lose 2 people from the home market. And it doesn't always happen right away. Often the person who wins, in close quotes, the marital home discovers in very short order the cost, the ability, the time it takes to manage that alone. It becomes a financial albatross, and that person very commonly is the one who ends up in bankruptcy or other bad things. So if in the process of divorce or after the divorce, if the right decisions weren't made, that is the right long-term financial decisions were not made, we end up with two people who no longer are homeowners, who no longer are eligible to purchase a different home, and very often are lost to the market for years. Not good for them, not good for your local real estate market. So how big is this and what is the economic impact? About 40% of Americans over time will end up divorced. And when you look at the people who own homes, believe it or not, homeowners are more likely to be divorced than people who aren't. Many of those people end up in foreclosure. If they end up in foreclosure either through the divorce process, shortly thereafter the divorce because of the real estate decisions made, that foreclosure removes them from the homeownership market, as I said, 5 to 7 years. Also bankruptcy could be even longer. And the thing of it is, this process of getting the foreclosure and getting the bankruptcy sometimes takes 2, 3, 4 years. That's years of misery, years of financial burden, of embarrassment, of just frustration beyond all. Only at the end of those 1 or 3 or 5 years that they fought the burden to end up foreclosed and ultimately bankrupt. We don't want that. We look at the economic impact, out here today in the marketplace, we're dealing with the economic impact of COVID-19. That is accelerating divorce, believe it or not. I hate to even share the statistic, but we know that calls to police departments for domestic problems are skyrocketing, and which is going to lead to skyrocketing divorce, that and other stressors, losing jobs. When a person leaves the home ownership arena, when they leave the home buying arena, that has a tremendous trickle-down effect on all sorts of other industries in your community. Realtors, obviously, legal people, window people, landscaping people, the mortgage, the home inspection people, plumbers, pest control, all of these industries that the National Association of Realtors has done a marvelous job of advocating for, saying, look, real estate drives the US economy. That is absolutely true. It's also absolutely true that for most Americans, real estate drives their personal economy. It's what drives the net worth high for those people who do it well, and it's what drives them economically into the dirt for those people who've done it poorly or through the process of divorce didn't get the information that they needed. The last thing we want to happen, or among the many things we don't want to happen in a divorce proceeding, is for the court to decide the disposition of the house. If the court decides the house is going to be sold, suddenly that's a distressed sale. It never gets the optimal dollars divided between the two couples. It always puts them in a negative situation. Sometimes when between the real estate agent who has to divorce this house training, the financial planner, the lawyers involved in each side, working together, they can collectively get these people to a decision so that they both are eligible to own their own home, and that this home, that we can work toward separating some of the emotion, see it as a financial asset, balance it amongst the other financial assets so there's equity in the disposition of assets. The last thing we ever want people thinking is that $200,000 in home equity is the same thing as $200,000 in a 401k or in cash. They are not the same thing. The $200,000 in home equity has an expense. It has a mortgage expense. It has a maintenance expense. It has all of these things. And that $200,000 in equity is a place where more money needs to be sent to retain that equity. Where a $200,000 in a 401k, it is liquid. It will earn money over time. When we just look at two things on a balance sheet, which particularly in Florida they want to do, right? There's the state of Florida has a document. Each person lists the asset. Each person lists essentially the same assets when there are multiple assets, and it looks like you can move things as though it was a balance sheet. That's not the way it plays out in real life. It is the way it plays out in real court, but it doesn't play out that way in real life once those assets are divided only on the dollar value and not on its, you might say, intrinsic value or its expense to maintain. So we've got to get people working through that. Some of the tremendous disasters that relate to real estate when they come out of divorce is foreclosure or bankruptcy. Terrible, terrible outcome. You know, for all the reasons someone wanted to stay in the marital home, all of the good reasons, those reasons suddenly become irrelevant if that home is foreclosed on and or bankruptcy following the foreclosure. One can precipitate the other, as you know. It's terrible. So they wanted to stay there. That was home. That was the right thing. Now they've lost their home. And for a person to have lost their marriage, feel like they won the home, and then lose the home, that is a tremendous burden for that individual. We can help them avoid that through our expertise that we're gaining in the Divorce This House program. Ruined credit. Sometimes the credit is ruined in the process before they've even gotten to divorce. Ideally, as a Divorce This House expert, whether you're the realtor, the lender, or the attorney, we're being proactive with people, of helping them in the ramp up. We even have people in the program, the Divorce This House program, or divorce counselors, who before they're even ready to throw in the towel or feel they need to throw in the towel, we're working through this financial piece of this so the credit isn't ruined in the ramp up to the divorce. And selling solo is miserable. What do we mean by that? As a real estate professional, you know that FSBOs don't go well. And FSBOs especially don't go well when it's post-divorce or pre-divorce. And I've been involved in a lot of these from the home inspection side, and it's absolutely misery. So two people are going through divorce and they're doing a FSBO. Not good, not an easy thing to get closed. I've been involved where a buyer's had an agent approach the FSBO, and suddenly they're in the middle of this divorce mess. Not a good thing. Rarely do they net the right dollars. You've got two people who are in the process of divorce and now take on this contentious thing of, oh, let's be for sale by owners. Maybe that'll make it better. Not good. So we want you as the real estate professional, as the lending professional, as the law professional, to be ready to help and guide them through them wherever they are in that dissolution process. What we're really looking to do is shifting the focus from the problems of divorce and shifting it to an idea of consumer protectionism. If we're proactive, if we're visible in the marketplace, if we can cause people to approach you as early as possible in their divorce journey, either by them discovering you directly, by your relationship with divorce attorneys, which we'll talk about, your relationship with counselors, which we'll talk about. We want to get with them early, so we're proactive, so that asset that is the house can be an asset through the divorce, regardless of whether it's sold, whether it's retained by he, she, or whatever the combination is, right? It's not important who gets it. It's important that we're giving them the guidance to make the right decision so that huge financial asset serves them well. And ultimately, this is the win. When you're involved with a couple who's divorcing, if both people own a home at the end of the divorce, that is a monstrous success. That is a fantastic success for the community. It's a fantastic success for the family. It's a fantastic success for you, the real estate professional. Why is that? It's because of the tremendous number of real estate that moves through divorce, even a singular divorce. So the marital residence may become a listing. If you're fortunate enough to sell it to another person, that's 2 transactions. The wife, for this example, may purchase a home. If they purchase one of your listings, that's now 4 transactions. The husband may purchase a home. If it's one of yours, it's 6 transactions from a single relationship. That is life-changing real estate business for you. Does that happen all the time? It does not happen all the time. Does this Divorce This House program help you to attract those opportunities? It absolutely does, and I will tell you that 6 transactions in a singular divorce is a long way from a record in the program. When you understand how to market the program, when you understand how to leverage real estate relationships with divorce counselors, divorce attorneys, and others who are already involved in the process. Children thrive in a home a parent owns. Home ownership, we would universally agree, is the American dream. One of the reasons for that dream is the security that children feel knowing that that is their home. Divorce is disruptive enough. Losing a home is even more disruptive, especially for the young ones. So we're doing really great things for families by guiding them through this process. Home ownership and consumer protection. That's what the Divorce This Home program is really about, assuring that that divorcing couple who are homeowners can remain homeowners and do that by protecting them, frankly, from their own emotions and from the coldness of the divorce process brought about by the court system and divorce attorneys. So let's take a look at some statistics on how big this market is. What's divorce look like, both in a macro sense, and we'll drill down using Jacksonville as an individual market. 40% of us wonderful people in the US will end up divorcing over time. 55% of divorce houses will remarry. So let's go back to that initial transaction. There's one marital home that has the potential to be between 1 and 6 transactions, depending how fortunate you are and how well prepared you are. 55% of those people will remarry, which means at least one of them is going to remarry. If you've guided them successfully through the divorce process, help them recover by putting them in their own home. When they remarry, that's another listing and another sale. If you sell them into one of your listings, that's 3 more on top of that other potential 6. And about half of those happen within 3 years. It's very interesting. People remarry after divorce at almost triple the rate, double to triple the rate, depending on the market, double to triple the rate that they would normally sell houses. Divorce is an accelerator to real estate. Not that we're cheering for it. It's looking at the world objectively and saying, divorce accelerates real estate. And as a Divorce This House certified expert, you're putting yourself in a position to accelerate your real estate business. Let's take a little bit of a quiz here. See, it's a test your divorce knowledge. Question number 1, when are most divorces filed? I'm gonna turn on the chat here just to see if anybody wants to play along. When are most divorces filed? As it turns out, there is a cycle, an annual cycle to divorces. Divorce tends to peak around March, bottoms out through the summer, peaks again back in August. Why is that? What's going on there? What's going on there is following the glory of the holidays, New Year's, Christmas, Hanukkah, that even Thanksgiving is the beginning of this, right? We're all getting together. We're all thinking about sudden things. We're grinding on each other. And then suddenly there's this New Year's resolution says, you know, I just can't do this anymore. It's going to be now. So those New Year's resolutions to change people's lives, I'm not judging that it's a good idea. Sometimes maybe it is. But here's the deal. Recognizing it's a seasonal trend, right? Bottoms out in summer, starts again in August, September. Why does it bottom out? It's the movement of schools. It's a really interesting thing. People decide what they need to do, and then all of a sudden again in August, they're like, I got to get through this before we got to put the kids back in school, and they start again. It's just crazy. Here's a very interesting observation about this chart. It is exactly the flip of the traditional real estate season. So what happens is, rather than what we generally face in real estate, in particular, you know, here in Jacksonville, I can speak to it very, very well. Things that would typically start to peak in April, May, June, July. That's everybody ramping up to get everything done before school starts again. Then it tapers back up again through the holidays. Exactly the opposite. So as a Divorce This House designated and certified agent with the expertise and the marketing know-how to attract this business, what you end up doing is leveling out your business. What's even more interesting, you level it out at a higher annual performance than you presently have. Excuse me. So if seasonally you're presently doing 20, we add to that the seasonality of divorce, that gets you at 40. And if you attract even more people, you might go from 20 houses a year to 50 houses a year. Can't promise that, but the chart would say that's absolutely the potential. If you're already doing 100, this may take you to 3. If you're doing 3, who knows, may take you to 1,000. And it's very interesting. It is not honest to say that as a divorce this house agent, suddenly the world falls upon you and you own the real estate market. It's not true. It's not true with GRI. It's not true with CRS. It's not true with anything. But what's true about this is it makes you unique. There are barely a handful of people who've completed this training in all of Jacksonville, and there's only a few hundred in Florida. It's very, very easy to stand out as with a rather unique designations that people understand. You know, when I tell somebody, and I love the GRI and CRS, I'm actually a GRI instructor. The consumer doesn't know what that means. Divorce this house, they know what that means and they know when they need it. So which house do you target? It's not a gender thing, or if they happen to be the same gender, it makes it even harder to figure out the gender thing, I suppose. But here's the point. Who we're initially targeting, the person you need to get to, is we call them the house spouse. There's the house spouse and the out spouse. Why is the house spouse the initial target? The house spouse is the person who needs you the most because they've made, in their mind, a huge decision that it's all about the house. And you're there to help them sort, is this the right thing? Should we sell this and get you another one? Or should you stay here? So they're the initial person who's typically most welcoming of your message. They'll also lead you naturally through the process, especially with the divorce attorneys involved, to the other spouse who's the out spouse. But the house spouse tends to be where the most initial success is had. So during this timeline, you can help even more. The sooner you get to them in the process, the better. Ideally, you'd even be involved at the mediation process before there's judges, before there's anything. So the sooner you get to them, the better off, which is why the relationships that you can foster through this program with divorce counselors and mediators is even more of more personal value, to be honest, than the divorce attorneys, because by the time it's divorce attorneys, that ship is already left in some ways. And so the sooner we get them, the better. We want to be like emergency room doctors. These people are in crisis. They're going through triage. We're being proactive and attempt as best as possible. And God knows it's difficult, but with the training, it's a little bit easier to take them from being opponents to working and realizing this is in fact a business decision. Yeah, it's very emotional. The house is a business. In the probably 95% of houses, divorces, the house is the single largest marital asset, either in terms of value or in terms of the mortgage and the financial impact. It's almost a dichotomy in one sense. The two people who couldn't figure out how to do their lives together now need to figure out how to manage this business, which is what to do with the house and how to do with the house. It's a challenge. It's important, and it's why with the training it's so rewarding. Divorces have doubled in a particular category over the last 30 years. One demographic is growing faster than any other. Any ideas? Seniors. Gray divorce and silver divorce. Gray over 50s and silver those over 65. You know, many of these people who are now, I'm 64, 65, 75, 80 years old, were raised in a time where people didn't get divorced. They didn't even know people that got divorced. And all of a sudden they've decided it's, for whatever reason, it's time to do it. And they truly, truly need guidance. They need guidance because a mistake, a financial mistake made at 50 plus or 65 plus, you know, just the very fact that you're being divorced may end up in a life alone. To end up in a life alone and impoverished is even worse. And the process of divorce as a senior or a silver dramatically increases the golden years being lived in poverty. So it's up to you, up to us to guide them through that. 65% of second marriages fail. 2/3 of all divorces are filed by women. Back to being evergreen and a never-ending stream of business. That initial relationship with that divorcing couple could have led to 6. They remarried, led to 3 more. 65% of the second and third marriages. Likely one good divorce attorney who you have one good year with, and your real estate career is essentially full for a lifetime. It's sad in one sense, but when you see it as delivering value, almost like an emergency room doctor, it's actually quite a good thing. Let's take a look, a little bit of a deep dive on statistics in divorce. This is for Jacksonville, Florida. This is a study that was commissioned by the city, and it was done by the Florida State University Institute of Science and Public Affairs. And if you email me or send me a message, through whatever mechanism you're watching the program, I will send this to you if it's of interest to you. You can also Google it, and trust me, this is available or something similar in virtually every city of any size anywhere in the country. But it breaks down the statistics in Jacksonville. So here's some interesting things. And I'm using the Jacksonville market, one because I live here and one because I'm seeing the names. I know many of you are also here, but essentially it looks the same anywhere in the country. So the greater Jacksonville area, just over 1 million people. I'll do these as quiz questions, but they're very real answers. Let me bring you back here. Okay, so good to see you. Question would be, how many divorce attorneys, that's their primary source of business, how many divorce attorneys in Jacksonville, Florida? Pick a number, pick any number. 242 as of April 2020, 242 lawyers working all day, every day, and doing nothing but divorce. How many people in Jacksonville would you reason are divorced in any given year? Turns out there are, on average, about 4,000 couples, that's 8,000 potential homeowners, about 4,000 couples divorce each year in Jacksonville. Some years it's been close to 6,000, some it's been in the low 3,000s. The indicators with the stresses we're seeing from COVID-19 and job loss and safer at home, although going crazier at home for some people, we could set a record this year in divorce. I'm sad about that, but it's going to happen. Let's see. So anyway, that's that. Ooh, here we are. This is a little bit of fun, if you can call talking about divorce fun. Anyway, top 10 cities in Florida. So give a thought in your own mind. This is per capita, and per capita meaning percent of the population over the age of 15 who are divorced. Why people who are 15 are married, I have no earthly idea. But the statistic that's used across the state when they measure per capita divorce is people living in the state of Florida, 15 or older, who are divorced. Here are the top 10 cities. Number 10. Well, for my Jacksonville friends, you're going to enjoy this in one sense because it's all around us. Green Cove Springs, number 10. Coming in at number 9, Arcadia. Coming in at number 8, another Northeast Florida city, Palatka. Also representing Northeast Florida at number 7, McClenny. Number 6, Mariana, not that far away. Number 5, Springfield. Coming in at number 4, not too far from Jacksonville, Lake City. Number 3, Stark. Number 2, Defuniak Springs. And number 1, divorce per capita. 11% of the people in this city, 11% of the people age 15 and older, and imagine if we did it at 18 or 20, but I'm not the demographer, I'm just the guy that reads the statistics. 11% of the people age 15 and above in this particular town are divorced, and that is the city of Live Oak. That's mind-boggling. 11%. Crazy. Go back to the screen share. Oops. All right. So you can see there's a lot of people getting divorced. Question becomes, so there's 200, we're using Jacksonville as an example, right? City of 1,250,000. So there's 250 divorce attorneys per million of population. So if you're not in Jacksonville, you can scale that to whatever town you're in. Lawyers average how many clients per month? These are divorce attorneys specializing in divorce. We're not even counting your general practice lawyer who kind of does a little bit here and there. How many? Monthly clients, 20 to 50 people walk into the typical divorce attorney's office and announce, it says clients because they tend not to walk in together, right? 20 to 50 per month, about half of which owned properties. Now that 50% split of property owners versus non-property owners varies dramatically depending on the neighborhood or the clientele that particular attorney faces on. So some it's much higher than 50%, it's essentially 100%, and others it's a bit lower. But essentially, statistically, half of the people getting divorced are homeowners. This is interesting of how, especially for high net worth divorces in the Jacksonville area, people, Ponte Vedra, Ortega, and all other places, even many farmers, it's very common that there are numerous multiple properties, a primary residence, a secondary residence, a mountain home. They've got rental properties on warehouses. There's often business real estate. It is not uncommon to hit 3, 5, 10, 20 or more properties involved, all of which need to be disposed of or accounted for in some particular way. This is a virtual gold mine of problems in real estate that they need guidance for. So how do we bring about this positive change? How, none of us are really in a position to stop divorce. It'd be nice if we could. But our mission as Divorce This House certified experts is to learn to guide people in the least painful way through the management and disposition and acquisition of real estate before, during, and post-divorce. That's the reason that this program was created. Real Estate Collaboration Specialist Divorce, it's a trademark designation. Where did it come from? As I mentioned in the opening, two nice ladies who become friends of mine, Wendy and her daughter, Professor Kelly Murray, developed this program about a dozen years ago based on their personal experiences, blended with the professional experiences, and said, there's got to be a better way. We have got to be reaching out to attorneys. We've got to be reaching out to financial planners. We've got to be reaching out to divorce counselors. We've got to be reaching out to lenders and realtors to teach them how to collaboratively work together to minimize the damage financially done and further emotional damage through the divorce process. Kelly, very fascinating woman, Stanford graduate, went to Harvard Law. She's on the faculty, the professorship there at Vanderbilt University, and was also a classmate of Barack Obama's, coincidentally, at Harvard. The idea is to elevate your position, your educational expertise, and by giving this certification and credential so that when you're approaching lawyers, and we're going to talk a little bit about how to do that, they recognize you come from a place of education and familiarity with what they're going through, what their clients are going through, and understand your role in the process so you become easy to refer. By gaining these new referral partners, you're doing great things in the community, and you're expanding your marketing horizon in a way that you've never previously imagined. There's a community of people involved in the program. At divorcethishouse.com, you can see the scope and breadth of what we're doing across the country. You'll also see a critical shortage in Florida, and more specifically in Jacksonville, of people who understand this. As I mentioned to you, 242 full-time divorce attorneys in Jacksonville. There are not enough agents to serve them and serve them properly. Everyone's got their hand out saying, yeah, I'll take the listing, but you're not there as an ally, and that's what causes the referral position to come. So how many lawyers do you need to grow a successful business in this niche? As it turns out, it's only 1 to 3 relationships, because each one of those has 10 to 20 of their divorcing couples who have real estate that either they're looking to retain or dispose of. They have 10 to 20 referrals each and every month. And that each of those referrals is somewhere between 1 and 3 transactions nominally. If you're very, very fortunate and your listings are in place, your relationship's in place, sometimes it's 6, 10 or more transactions from a single divorce. And it is evergreen, as we mentioned. No matter what happens in the real estate market, sad to say, the more challenged the real estate market is as a whole, the more likely people are to get divorced. There's economic challenges, there's COVID-19 challenges, these things that are causing people, sadly, to be at a loss of how to solve their marital life. They are fueling real estate. There's no cost to lead generation. It isn't like buying Zillow leads. The attorneys, the divorce counselors, the financial planners who are also a part of the program and involved with people divorcing, they're not looking for money from you. They're looking for expertise from you so that you're assisting their client not to do further damage to themselves, and you're helping them. So conservatively, 1 to 3 lawyers, conservatively, 1 transaction a month, not difficult at all. I think that's overly conservative myself. So how not to market the lawyers? The last thing that we want anyone to do after the introduction to the Divorce This House program, say, oh man, great idea. Wally, thank you for sharing me what Kelly and Wendy have built over the decade. Thank you. I'm going to run out and do that. Great way to destroy your future referral base. Here are some things that historically have not worked when people have sought to create relationships with divorce attorneys. Dropping off cards and mailers, not so good. Cold calls and drop-ins, even less welcome. Asking for business before you've been able to lead with a credential, not good. Bragging about your statistics. Nobody cares if you did 50 million last year. I care, you care, but that attorney doesn't care. What they care is, can you successfully and respectfully guide my 1 to 5 clients per month through this process in a way where they come out the other end feeling like we were a collaborative team and they're better off because we did it together. The other thing is there was a real push there for a bit. People ghostwriting books. There were Divorce This House books, not branded Divorce This House. That's a branded thing. But anyway, you got to be authentic. You've got to be real, or else it gets just doesn't work. Meeting lawyers through other people that you know. As it turns out, you likely already have dealt with divorced or divorcing real estate clients. What's interesting is most of them had an attorney. They may introduce you to the attorney, say, you know, I would really appreciate a professional introduction to your attorney. They may do that for you. In other networking groups, there are real estate agents who are married to divorce attorneys. So there's lots of ways to meet them. LinkedIn is a masterful way to work this program. There are very, very few real estate agents, probably less than 10 in the Jacksonville market, who work LinkedIn even moderately, though it's much more common for lawyers to be working LinkedIn. Great place to get your profile right, get your Divorce This House credential out there, and then to begin to reach out through LinkedIn, professional to professional. We'll do a program sometime in the next few weeks on leveraging LinkedIn for lawyer listings. We'll do that at another time. Great way to do that. And it's thinking about, rather than who do you know is ready to list and sell property in the next 30 days, ask the question, who do you know who's involved with divorce attorneys? And even attorneys who aren't divorce attorneys, they all know divorce attorneys. So it's expanding a network in a very different way. And frankly, it's in a nearly non-competitive way. Lawyers are very, very proud. They even put ESQ and other cool initials, DDS. That's dentist. You know what I'm saying. Fancy letters after their name. The Divorce This House expert is no one's going to say that it's parallel or that the lawyer views you as a parallel, but they will view you maybe as a paralegal, as someone who's made the effort to learn the words, learn the terminology, learn the nuance of the divorce process, and bring your unique value and experience as a real estate agent to it. It's really quite simple. So each lawyer know also that not only are they referring clients to you who are divorcing, but their sphere. And generally speaking, divorce lawyers do quite well in the community, and which means their sphere is doctors and lawyers and other professionals, business owners who also do quite well. And trust me, when a professional sees you navigate the challenges in divorce successfully and professionally and respectfully, that makes them very, very comfortable to refer you to people who aren't divorcing. So it kind of works in amazing ways. So how do you get involved? It's the Divorce This House program. What we have just completed is the Divorce This House program introduction. If you'd like to learn more, if you'd like to complete the program in its entirety, there are several things that you can do. You can reach out to me directly, and I will send you the 12-page worksheet. It's essentially a synopsis of what we've just done together, so that you can review that and think that through and go, yeah, this is a good thing for me to do. And then if you're interested, you can go to wally.divorcethishouse.com. Why go wally.divorcethishouse.com? Because if you do that, the Divorce This House program, it'll take you to a landing page and it will give you $100 off the program. The program is usually $600. It's $500 because you know me and you use wally.divorcethishouse.com. I am not paid or compensated to do this introduction to you. I am not paid or compensated if you register. This is something that I'm doing as a building business tool for you and a business building tool for me. I have gained tremendous personal and professional value having been through the Divorce This House program more than a decade ago. I value the relationship I have with you, and I see the name. Some of you I work with regularly. I'm very, very grateful for that. And I would encourage you, reach out to me individually. I'm happy to have that conversation while we're still social distancing. It'll be on Zoom, so it'll look just like this. We can do a phone call. A friend of mine, Gail Nankervis, is also on the program here with us. She is a Jacksonville-based divorce counselor who's been working with me in this program. This has made my business better. It has helped me to bring value to real estate agents who are looking to grow their business and provide a great service in the community. And it has frankly helped my inspection company, yes, to get more inspections, but it's also created an environment where when we are involved in a situation of divorce, we're seen more as an ally to the process, and we get a lot less of the angst that you all have experienced when you're involved in this type of situation. If anybody's got a question for me, you can stick it in the chat box. You can ask it out loud, and if the Zoom is working at full capacity today, I'll take it. Not seeing any, I understand that, I respect that. I'm grateful for your time. We are doing, as many of you are aware, last year I did 103 in-person real estate agent programs, for everything from GRI to Divorce This House, to many, many programs. We've always done them in person. We've done them at real estate boards, real estate companies, real estate offices, real estate teams. We've done them here in my office. That is not working so well anymore. Got a nice thank you from Amanda. Appreciate it. And I appreciate all you do in the community also, Amanda. Thank you so much. It's Amanda Hauser on the Cold Slate team. Wonderful partners of ours. But, oh, there's another question. How long is the class? Great question. The class depends how you do it. The class is 5 2-hour sessions, remote learning, which is pretty well the universe right now. It's 5 consecutive weeks, and it's 11 to 1. And you bring your lunch, you sit in front of your screen. Everything is done live, just like we did today. And Kelly and Wendy, you know, they're better presenters than me, and they got whiz-banger graphics and all that, but they do this all the time, deliver their program. So you do that 5 consecutive weeks. If you miss a week, they're doing it on a rotating scale, so you can always pick it up. Or you can do in person, very candidly, with COVID-19, as I'm sharing this with you in April of 2020. They're not doing anything in person right now, but when they do, it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is a wonderful way to do the program. Not practical, more expensive, and not possible right now. So that's how that works. And let me see the question. Yeah, okay, great. And what I was saying about the coursework is we've presently got scheduled, I've got scheduled to deliver for you on Zoom, on Facebook Live, on LinkedIn, and we'll repurpose it other places on the web. We're doing, this week we're doing 7 different programs. I have 30 programs that we've written. If you'd like to see that full list of programs, send me a note. I'll send them to you. I'll also send you the schedule of how we're doing them in this open forum, or how you can bring them to your team, your office, your company, your real estate board, or wherever. Thank you. That's not a question. Thank you too. I appreciate you. All righty. I'm going to wrap this and tell you thank you. I appreciate you. It's divorcethishouse.com to get the discount on the program. It's Wally, W-A-L-L-Y, divorcethishouse.com. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day. Stay safe.